Hi everybody, it's Brian Hearn of understandingpeople.org, and today I'm going to talk to you about a really heavy subject. Why Bill Nye, the science guy, is wrong when he says that God cannot be proved. See, the truth is, God's already proved himself. Let's think this for a moment scientifically. If there is a God, and if that God wants to communicate with humanity, and if that God decides to communicate to humanity through his word, which is he says is the Bible, and if he said he's going to do something to prove that he exists, and that thousands of years later it happens, just as he said it would happen, and he said that will be the proof that I exist. Well, when it happens, guess what? He's proved his case. He scientifically proved his case that he exists. So once you know what the proof is, you'll never ever be able to say again, there's no proof that God exists, because there is. Let's go back in time in the Bible to thousands of years ago. There's Moses, the prophet, talking to God in Deuteronomy 4. You can look it up in your own Bible, get it out, blow the dust off, and see what it says. I'm going to paraphrase. God says, guess what? Moses, I'm going to do something that nobody's ever done before. It's never happened, and there is no other God. In fact, when I do it, then you will know that I am God and that beside me there is no other. In other words, there's no other God. He said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cause something to happen in one day. Not one day in the future, but in one day. Well, I don't want to give away what happened, but here's the proof that God exists. It's in one word: Israel. That's right. The nation of Israel is the proof that God exists. So let me paraphrase again. Back in Deuteronomy 4 and in other places in the Old Testament, God says, I'm going to prove that I exist, and here's how I'm going to prove it. I'm going to take a nation out of another nation, and I'm going to put them in the promised land, and they're going to become rich and powerful. They're going to be the nation of Israel. They're going to turn their back on me. When they do, I'm going to get angry. I'm going to cast them out of the nation. It will no longer be a nation. In fact, I'm going to disperse them as a people group all over the world. And just on top of that, I'm going to make them the most hated people on earth. But because I'm a good God, I'm a good father, and I love my people, one day I'm going to turn my anger from them, and I'm going to bring them back in their land. I'm going to make them a nation again in one day. And in my friend, in 1948, with a stroke of a pen, after almost 2,000 years, a nation that was no longer a nation suddenly, in one moment, in one day, became the nation of Israel. No other nation has ever done that. No other nation's ever been destroyed and come back and become a nation again. No people group have ever been destroyed and come back to be a people again. It's only happened one time. It'll never happen again. You can bank on that, because God said Israel's the proof that I exist. Now, you may not like that. You may not agree with that. But God's the one who set the rules, the scientific experiment. I'm going to create a nation in one day. And he did. That's the proof. So you can no longer say, like Bill Nye, the science guy, theologically, there is no proof that God exists, because now there is. Now, you're responsible for that information, whether you want to accept it or reject it. But whichever choice you make, it'll be an eternal choice. I know that's pretty heavy, so let's get to something that's related but not quite as heavy. The Apostle Paul in the New Testament talked about some people from Berea. He called them Bereans. He said they're more noble than all the other people around because they searched the scriptures daily to see if such things were true. And that's my charge to you. Whether you believe any of this or not, just be Berean. Take out that old dusty Bible, blow the dust off of it, and check it out throughout the Old Testament and the New Testament. See if God didn't prove that he exists because of the nation Israel. Anyway, if you like what you've heard today, I appreciate it if you go to my website. You can get a tip of the day, and we'll see you next time at understandingpeople.org. I'm Brian Hearn. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I appreciate it.